And our correspondent Akshay Dongre continues to be with us. Akshay, there's so much that's happening in this relationship. The Ministry of External Affairs in the curtain raiser press conference spoke of how a joint commission is going to be set up, headed by the foreign ministers on both sides. There are several new working groups that are expected across a lot of sectors. There are 3 or 4 working groups already there in existing sectors. But when the Prime Minister really goes in for his talks with the Kuwaiti leadership, what do you think will be foremost on his mind?
Well, Munmun, if we talk about the priorities or what is going to be the foremost as far as the agenda is concerned, then we can expect energy security and trade. These 2 areas are still going to be the key pillars as far as the bilateral relations between the 2 countries are concerned. Now, we are expecting both the leaderships, the Indian leadership and the Kuwaiti leadership, to roll out several new joint ventures as far as the 2 economies are concerned. Kuwait does realize that India is an untapped market as far as their investment is concerned. India is a growing economy. It is, in fact, world's fastest growing major economy, and that is the reason why the Kuwaiti corporates, when we interacted with several of them, they seem very optimistic as far as India's growth story is concerned. They are very hopeful that the investments of Kuwaiti corporates is going to be quite fruitful as far as the Indian market is concerned. Now, we are looking at energy security, we are looking at trade, we are looking at education sector, healthcare sector, pharmaceutical, and as the ambassador was pointing out, defense is going to be perhaps one of the most important point that will be discussed between the 2 countries as well. Now, the Indian defense industry has emerged as one of the fastest growing defense industry around the world as well. We are now a country that can indigenously manufacture an aircraft carrier. Now, the Navy is going to be in the focus as far as India's defense manufacturing capabilities are concerned. We can manufacture corvettes, we can manufacture frigates, destroyers, aircraft carriers, naval helicopters. We can in fact also manufacture now indigenously nuclear submarines as well. So, all the capabilities that we have developed in the last 1 decade especially has become quite lucrative as far as maritime powers are concerned, especially in the Gulf region, where the geopolitical landscape has been changing in the last 10 years. Every country wants, security for themselves, and naval security remains on the cards for almost all the Gulf nations. And perhaps India is one country that can provide, a reliable as well as cost-effective equipment for the maritime security of these nations. Kuwait is no different. Kuwait is connected with India as far as maritime borders are concerned. As Prime Minister has pointed out, that India and Kuwait are connected at 2 different parts of the Arabian Sea, and maritime trade has always been taking place between the 2 countries. But when it comes to the defense sector, both the countries can explore the untapped markets that they each have. So defense is going to be one such area where both the countries can be signing a couple of memorandums of understanding. And it's not just the import and export of defense equipment, but also joint training and bilateral exercises of their troops, where the Indian side can share their expertise with the Kuwaiti land and naval forces, and the Kuwaitis can share their expertise as far as working in this particular landscape. So both can learn from each other. Both can share their technological know-how with each other. And it's not just the defense equipment and the defense technologies, but technology in itself is going to be one such area where both the countries can exchange memorandums of understanding, with India having a lot of expertise as far as now developing state-of-the-art technology. It's not just it's not just mobile phones or other technological equipment that India now manufactures, but it's also advanced manufacturing, where India has been making several strides. So quantum computing, advanced manufacturing, artificial intelligence. India has been learning from other countries. Like, for example, when Prime Minister went to Singapore in his last bilateral visit, he had several engagements with the Singaporean sides as far as the advanced manufacturing sector is concerned. So Kuwait can learn a lot from those experiences that India has now.
Right.
So these are going to be perhaps some of the areas where both the leadership will be focusing on, besides the living bridge, the Indian diaspora. visa and the working conditions that Prime Minister has been speaking about of improving as he visited the labor camp yesterday. So there are going to be a lot of memorandums of understanding, a lot of exchanging, a lot of agreements that will be signed between the two countries that can take the relationship between the two countries to a next level. So back to you, Munmun.
Akshay, before we let you go, what is your assessment of why it took 43 years for an Indian premier to travel to Kuwait?
Well, that is the question. In fact, Prime Minister said that the flight to Kuwait from Delhi is just 4.5 hours, but it took about 43 years for an Indian Prime Minister to visit the country, and that is the big question that in fact the Indian diaspora has been asking as well. But perhaps it is also the ability of Prime Minister to assess and to focus on the areas which have been lacking in the past, made him come to Kuwait as well. And now Prime Minister had visited in the past all the other Gulf nations. It was just Kuwait that was left, and now Prime Minister has visited Kuwait as well at the invitation of the Amir of the country. So that is a question that even the diaspora has been asking, that why it took such a long time for the and why the previous prime ministers in the last 40 years did not in fact visit the country. But it's better late than never. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is now here in Kuwait, and a new chapter between the two countries as far as the relationship is being written as we speak.
Yes, Akshay, stay with us. So Professor Rajan